So I guess that would be all, and thank you for listening. I hope you have learned. So that's all for today. I hope you have learned something from this lesson and the 6 approaches in its example and its topic. Have a good day to all of us. Okay. Have a good day to all of us. At this time, I am going to discuss the 6 approaches to the teaching of grammar. So, the first approach is inductive approach, deductive approach, direct approach, communicative approach, the silent way approach, and the last one is community language learning approach. And I will be going to use this or to apply these approaches to the topic that I have selected later. So, inductive approach is a discovery learning. An inductive approach involves the learners detecting or noticing patterns in working out of a rule for themselves before they practice the language. An instructor might use or show a few examples of a grammar point in English and then ask students what they notice. The teacher guides the students to noticing the grammar pattern and finally explicitly exposes them to it. So when we talk about an inductive approach, the teacher teach the students about the grammar, and students only have to do is to notice, to detect the grammar, and to use the pattern in an effective way. So instructor also might use a few examples, provide a sort of examples to have a better learning or to have a better understanding when it comes to grammar. So I'm going to use this inductive approach to have a clear examples. So here, inductive approach examples. So determine the subject in the sentence. So when the students, I will ask the students, if I am a teacher, determine the subject in the sentence. Then the students only have to notice the grammar itself, and they will answer the question of the teacher. So this is about the inductive approach. The dog barks at me. So determine the subject. The dog is the subject. Here, the dog is the subject. Why? Because it is the one who acted in the sentence. So the dog. It is about, the subject is about the one who acts in the sentence. So the dog, and the students must learn when the teacher explicitly explain it to the students. So when I am the teacher, here the subject of the sentence is the dog because it is the one who acts in the sentence. So I have I have another examples, but I hope it will be discussed later. So that is the examples of inductive approach. So moving to another topic or moving to another approach is the deductive approach. Deductive approach involves the learners being given a general rule which is then applied to specific language examples and honed through practice exercises. A deductive approach is more on teacher-centered learning, where the points of English grammar are explicitly stated to the students and then tested. Once the grammar is introduced and explained, students usually complete grammar exercises to become familiar with the pattern. So deductive approach is all about a teacher-centered learning. Teacher-centered learning is all about the teacher's way on how he or she teach the students in an effective way. So there is no interaction to both teachers and students, or when two students only have to listen the discussion of the teacher, and the teacher only have to discuss the topic of the topic is all about. Then in the deductive approach, it is usually about the grammar itself. So when we talk about grammar, the teacher must teach about the grammar, the rules, and how to use this in an effective um, writing, especially in an academic. So the students must use um, their language, especially the second language, because it is the majority in the classroom. So I have an example to use this deductive approach. To use this in deductive approach, I have this example. So these examples. So I have already discussed the first one, but the second one is determine the predicate in the sentence. So my car uses regular gasoline. Here, when I use this deductive approach, it was all about the grammar of the students and how to use this predicate in the sentence, or how to determine the predicate in the sentence, and it's all about a grammar also. So here the predicate is the regular gasoline. So when I talk about the predicate, it is part of the sentence that involves that makes a statement about the subject. The main part of the predicate is the verb. Usually, the subject comes before the predicate. So, meaning to say, the predicate is the one who receives the action. And usually, the subject comes before the predicate. So here, we can see, or um, we can determine also the subject, and that is a car. My car. So, but we are talking about to determine the predicate of the sentence. So, the predicate is regular gasoline. So, the students must learn it when it comes to the teaching. When they have a use of deductive approach to apply this in a grammar rules. So, I hope there is a good understanding that get from this topic about the deductive approach. So we're moving to the next topic. The third topic is about the third approach is about direct approach. So direct approach, it's a response to the grammar, translation, school, and this time, rather than written form, the emphasis is on the spoken language and the development of oral skills. Grammar isn't taught explicitly, but it is learned inductively by the students through repeated exposure to the spoken language. So, when we talk about deductive approach, there is no written grammar teaching, but it is all about the oral skills of the students. So, when I am the structure, I'm going to select the students to stand up and to read the written of the board, to read the notes, to know their oral level, to know their reading skills. So when I am the one to teach the students, I'm going to ask them, okay, Joey, stand up and read the number 3 approach, and it will be the example of direct approach. So if I am the students, I'm going to read, and this will be happen. Direct approach is a response to the grammar, translation, school, and this time, rather than written form, the emphasis on the spoken language and the development of oral skills. Grammar isn't taught explicitly, but it is learned inductively by the students through repeated exposure to the spoken language. And that is one of the example of deductive approach. Students is only read to know their oral level or skills. So I hope there will be a understanding pertaining to this concept or pertaining to this approach. So the fourth approach that I'm going to discuss is this one. Okay, communicative approach. This is the fourth approach that I'm going to discuss. Communicative approach, what good would it do any of your students if they know all the different ways of conjugating a verb but fail to communicate a coherent message? Communication is essentially the rationale for language, and the communicative approach seeks to develop those skills that enable students to meaningfully engage with each other. Interactive activities are the hallmark of this approach. As the teacher, your responsibility is to give the students as much opportunity to give and receive meaningful communication as possible. Communicative approach is also like the direct approach. It's about an oral skills, but the difference is there is a collaboration, there is an interaction. In the direct approach, there is no interaction happen in the teachers and the students, but only the teachers will explain the topic, and the students would give a highlight point pertaining to the topic, or to give an oral reading or performance to the topic that teacher taught. So, but when it comes to communicative approach, there is an interactive activities, meaning to say, both teachers and students must have a collaboration when it comes up to the topic. So, and this approach seeks to develop those skills. What those skills? Oral, written, and their confidence of the students. So, I have here an example on how to use this communicative approach. So, if I am the students, I am the students, I will going to if the teacher asks me to read and answer the question, then I will be using the communicative approach. So here's the example of this. Okay, this one. Okay. So here is our topic today, verb, and we can use this communicative approach to this topic, verb. So verb, it is the action or state of being in a sentence. Verbs can be expressed in different tenses depending on when the action is being performed. So when we talk about communicative approach, then we can use this verb topic. And the example must be the one it is provided by the teacher. So here, you are a great singer, and the verb here is are because it is a linking verb. And the second example is she likes pineapple. So likes is our verb here in the sentence. So this topic can be the example of communicative approach. When I am an instructor or a teacher, then I will be going to provide this example to the students, then apply this topic in a communicative in a communication skills, and the students must have this interaction to their classmates, and they can apply this verb as their main topic by, for example, role playing is one of the this example for this one. Then they have to determine the way they express themselves or the way they communicate to their classmates using the verb in the sentence. So here we have here another example. Determine the verb in the sentence. Number one, after I watched the Squid Game movie, I read my favorite book. So in the example, we have two verbs because it is a compound sentence, and the verb here is watch in read. So that is our verb, and that is one of the this topic is one of the helpful to the communicative approach using this teaching of grammar. So that is the topic of communicative approach that must be taught to the students. So let's move on to the fifth approach, the silent way. So I hope you have learned something from this topic. Verb. Okay. The silent way. Silent way uses silence as a teaching pad. Your students might feel you're going them the silent treatment if you don't keep things friendly and explain the process to them. You're really encouraging them to do talking themselves. You're encouraging learners to be independent, to discover and figure out the language for themselves. Learning the target language is therefore seen as a creative, problem-solving, and encouraging cognitive challenge. So, silent way uses only um, a teaching of teacher to provide learning materials such as books, and students must read it in a silent way. Silent way meaning is uses a brain of the students or uses their minds to read the books or what the materials that is provided by the teacher. So meaning if I am the instructor or teacher, I will provide books to the students, then students will read the book in a silent way. So it is very effective also because it promotes the um, interpretation of the students, because when you are reading a book in a silent way, you can interpret it in a based manner. So that is the silent way approach. So I don't have any examples that I can give when it comes of silent way, because it also talks about the using of approach or using the mind of the students to read the text or to read the books. So let's go back to the um, next topic. So the next topic is community language learning or community language learning approach. So I hope you have learned something from the number 5 approach, the silent way. So unity language learning approach, it is called CLL because the class learns together as one unit, not listening to the same lecture but interacting the target language. The teacher's role is that of a counselor, a guide, and an encourager. So community language learning, it first starts to the students. They have to collaborate in the classroom, they have to participate to each other, and to address the problem or the topic that is given by the teacher. For example, if I am the instructor, I will give them a topic, then the students must have their interaction in their classroom to determine the topic, what it is all about. So, I have here an example or the topic that I can explain and use this community language learning here. When to use plural in singular. So if I am the teacher, then I will be going to explain this topic to the students. So if it is referring to one person or thing, it is a singular noun. If it is referring to more than one person or thing, it is a plural. So when we talk about singular, it refers only to one thing, such as book, um, table, that is. And when you're talking about plural, it refers about to more than one thing, such as books, tables, and tree, um, caterpillars, that's all, and so on. So, for example here, see, for example here, example number 1, a paper on the table. So here the subject, here the singular um, thing is a paper because it only refers to one. My pen is broken, number 2 example, and here we can see that pen is a singular because it refers only to one thing. So third example, there are 5 birds in the tree. 5 birds is our plural because it refers to the more than 2 animals. Then this glass is made up of gold. So glass is our singular thing because it refers only to one thing. So that is. So that's the teachers must provide this topic in order to enhance the community language learning to the students. When I am the instructor, I will provide this topic, and then students must have the collaboration in the classroom to address this topic. So that is the point of this approach. So determine the singular in the sentence. John wants to become a teacher. So this is now the um, question that I have to give if I am struggling, that I have to give to the students. So and the students must have the collaboration to their classmates or to their in the classroom to answer this one. So John wants to become a teacher. So determine the singular. So if I'm the student, I will have my opinion that John is the singular noun in the sentence because to it refers only to one person, and singular noun, it talks about John. So that is our singular noun in the sentence. So the second question, determine the plural thing in the sentence. So plural thing refers to more than one person or one things. So these books are expensive. So our plural thing here is books because it refers to more than one thing. So books is our plural in the sentence. So this topic, it also enhance the grammar of the students, and not just about the grammar but their confidence there to participate in the classroom. One of the best example of enhancing the grammar context is community language learning, because there's an interaction in the classroom to the students, and we can see it in every field of learning. So that's all for today. I hope you have learned something from this lesson and the 6 approaches in its example and its topic. Have a good day to all of us.